it's just my muscles increasing in mass. You can call me creatinine. Anyway, we're going to talk about the word that I will never be able to say. So we're going to say creatinine in clearance. You'll never forget it, okay? So before we jump in, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Arlo. And Arlo is a big bodybuilder. He goes to the gym, he gets his heavy weights, and he works out. So after Arlo's workout, he is going to take in some protein, which protein is kind of like the CEO of our muscles. He is the big dog in our muscles. And so what we do is after Arlo's workout, he's going to take in some protein to help maintain the mass of his muscles that he has worked so hard to build. So he's going to take some protein, he's going to help maintain the mass of his muscles, because when we're putting that force on our muscles with those big weights, we're wearing and tearing our muscles. So again, protein helps maintain the mass of the muscles. So then we go into our friend creatine. And creatine is a naturally occurring mineral within our muscles. And Arlo might take in some creatine in the morning or after his workout. And what the creatine is going to help him do is it's going to help him increase the size of his muscle mass, and it also plays a role with ATP, which is the energy source. So it's not only going to help him increase the size of his muscle mass, it's going to help that energy source continually do its job. So what we know about muscles is that it's going to increase the cells. So that's also that third part of creatine on the label is a muscle cell volume, or it increases the muscle cell volume, which makes sense. So here we have a creatinine clearance. It doesn't have any lab value. So what this test does, it's a blood test or a urine test, and what it is that the waste that results after it does its thing in the muscles will go out, and it is secreted by the kidneys. So in order to get rid of this waste, we need the kidneys to be working properly. And if the kidneys aren't working properly, there's going to cause a lot of issues, which we'll get into that later. So here I just have creatine is important for skeletal muscle contraction. So again, our gym goers, it's important for our gym goers in order for those muscles to contract, and that's probably why they're going to take that supplement to help those muscles increase in size. And the amount of production of creatine within the body will be dependent upon the size of the muscle size. Creatinine is the catabolic production from creatine. So if you think about milligram and microgram is a smaller version of a milligram. So the creatinine then is the breakdown of creatine in the muscle. So it breaks down in the body, everything breaks down into a simple form. So our food, it gets broken down into a simple form. That way our body can use it as energy. Just like creatine, it gets broken down into this simple form. That way the muscles can use it to increase in their size and do their muscle contraction. So it also, which we kind of already talked about this in a sense, creatinine with the tear of the muscles helps to fight off that muscle fatigue. So kind of helps recover those muscles so that our muscles aren't feeling tired for days on end after strong activity. And again, excess is secreted by the kidneys, which relies on the kidneys to be healthy. And a creatinine clearance test, creatinine in clearance test, can test the kidneys' functions because it heavily relies on the kidneys to get out of the body. So if it's not getting out of the body, kidneys are probably not working. The serum creatinine, normal lab values are going to be 0.5 to 1.2 milligrams per deciliter. And we're going to turn the page to our handy dandy notebook, and we're going to struggle to do that. Good to go. All right. So, again, with decreased levels and increased levels, it's pretty cut and dry. There are several that we could have listed, but I just did some main ones because if you think about it again, with the creatinine, it heavily relies on the kidneys. So again, if the kidneys are functioning properly, it's going to get out of the body as it's supposed to. And if the kidneys are not working, then it's not going to get out of the body, so it's going to cause those increased levels to be above 1.2. So nephritis, which would be an inflammation of the kidneys. So if you think about it, inflammation, it's not going to work as well as it should to get that pushed out. A decreased renal flow, heart failure, aplascular sclerosis. I can't say that word either, but you know what I mean. It's like the hardening of the arteries, and it's not being able to flow properly to get out. Diabetic nephropathy. I am struggling. Nephropathy. Nephropathy.
That word.
Nephropathy.
I just zoom in on it. That word. Just zoom in on it.
Nephropathy. Nephropathy. Okay. Diabetic nephropathy.
Krabby Patty.
All right, you'll never forget it, so you're welcome. And if you think about it, with diabetics, nephropathy. With diabetics, there's something going on with the cells and the insulin. So if the cells aren't working correctly, that's going to cause it to hold on to things because it's not going to react the way that it should to get it out of the body or into the muscles, and you get the gist. So with the decreased levels, you could have weakening of the muscles in the body, which again makes sense because creatinine is important for the size of the muscles and the muscle contraction. So weakening, you might have like a drooping, which is going to be another word that I can't say, so buckle in. Let's go. Myasthenia gravis. If you look it up, it's kind of like the patient's face is kind of not necessarily as severe as maybe like Parkinson's or someone that just had a stroke or that's having a stroke, but you will kind of see that drooping and that weakness because again, you have muscles here, and because you have a decreased level, it's not allowing for that muscle contraction. That muscle contraction. Something's in the air. My gosh. Muscular dystrophy, which again, it's going to be the muscles. If you think about how to sneeze. Cellular dystrophy, it's going to be the cells that are displaced. So the muscles aren't going to be able to keep their form because the mass, the contraction, everything is going to be messed up because the levels are decreased. And remember, with anything in the body, we want an equilibrium. Lastly, they're going to have an unsteady gait, which again makes sense because if we don't have enough, we're probably not going to be able to move right because we don't have the proper things in our muscles to keep us going properly. Kind of like a car. You don't have the things in the car that you need, it's not going to work properly and you're going to break down. Okay. Difficulty swallowing. Again, swallowing requires those muscles to allow us to swallow. So we're going to have difficulty swallowing. So as you can see, really it is kind of cut and dry with increased and decreased levels. So again, protein helps you maintain. Creatine is broken down into the muscles to creatinine and it's then excreted by the kidneys. Thank you.